Hi, this is Hugh Greenwood from the North Melbourne Footy Club, and you're listening to another episode of the Hashtag Kangaroos podcast.
Whatever I've been through, the moment I see you, things start looking up.
Welcome to another episode. My name is Dean Vassick. You can find me on X at Hashtag Kangaroos, Instagram Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. Tonight, I'm a little nervous about this podcast. I have the pleasure and privilege to welcome to the show North's own AFLW small forward, Bella Eddy. Bella, it's a pleasure to have you on, and especially after coming off your 50th game for the club and in your AFLW career last week. Congratulations to you on that. It's come up pretty quick for you, still only 22 years old, part of the leadership group the last couple of years. First off, how did you celebrate Sunday night?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me back. How did I celebrate? To be honest, I went home and sat on the couch and had some family dinner. So nothing too crazy because we've got a very busy period of games coming up. So got to keep a lid on it. But I couldn't believe, to be honest, that I'd already hit 50 games. So it was pretty special. And to be drafted at North and then now be at 50, I'm really grateful for everything that they've done for me.
No, it's a really good attitude to have. You haven't missed a game yet, have you, since you pretty much came into the team first game? I think you've played pretty much 50 straight, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Not to jinx you.
I know, yeah, touch wood.
Yeah.
I was close to missing a couple times, but not yet. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure one day it will eventually happen. So it'll be weird to watch on the sidelines, but I have full trust in all the girls when that day does come.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you have time to look back on your journey so far, even though you're very young, or has it just gone a bit of a blur and it's something you may look back on in the future?
I think, it's definitely been a bit of a blur, but I think when that kind of 50-game milestone did pop up, it does kind of force you to reflect back and think what has been. And sometimes you can get really stuck in thinking in the moment that, like, maybe you haven't achieved what you want or you're not playing as good as you'd like. But when I look back to my first season, I just can't believe how far I've come. And when you do have that reflection, it is obviously nice to realise that I really have come a long way. And I think about my preparation and my confidence levels, the game plan knowledge, how I've evolved as a player. Yeah, then that definitely makes me reflect and think that I'm pretty happy with the journey so far, and just even all the girls, the connections that I've made and the memories that we have together. So can't really complain at the end of the day.
No, definitely not. What's been a highlight so far in your 50 games?
Oh, there's probably been quite a few. I got to say, some of the girls that I've met at the club, I feel will definitely be friends that I've made for life. So I think for me, that's probably the number one thing that's definitely a highlight. But in terms of footy, last year's final series is pretty hard to miss. That win against Melbourne was one of the most fun games I've ever been a part of. And then to get across the line in the prelim by 1 point was also a feeling when that siren went that I'll never, ever forget. So definitely them. And then, of course, your first game, you also don't forget that.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't. Yeah, I think that's what you remember fondly, the first game, and then the big wins in finals. And, yeah, it's always nice to beat Melbourne. And, especially last year when we're going into a final series where we hadn't beaten those teams, or we really struggled against the top 3 or 4 teams. So to get past that hurdle, it was a big achievement. Just looking back on that, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It was a massive achievement. I think, during that year, as you said, even prior to that point, actually, that final series, I'd never beaten Melbourne or Adelaide, and during the year we got beaten pretty badly against Melbourne, and we were all left questioning things a little bit, wondering if we were good enough, and then got a very narrow loss to Adelaide a few rounds later. But I think we gained a lot of belief from that loss to Adelaide, even though we did lose because it was so close. And then to come out in the final series and do that, I think we really needed it and we really deserved it as well.
Yeah, we won't talk about the grand final. That's
we'll
another
just leave that one out.
We'll move forward from that. Obviously gone through 50 games now. Do you have an end goal? Obviously you'd like to play another 10, 12 years. Being a small forward, you've probably got a bit of longevity there. Is there a long-term goal for yourself, or is it just taking one game at a time, 1 year at a time?
I think, it is on one hand, take it one game at a time, 1 year at a time, but at the same time, you do have long-term goals that are kind of keeping you motivated, and I think that's okay as long as you're managing all of them and not letting it distract you too much. But I'd love to play for another 10, 12 years. Talk to Emma Carney and Kate Schuler, they say it's easy as you like. So, they love to talk about how different it'll be once I get a bit older. We'll see how I feel about it. But, I'm really excited. I think the AFLW is going in a really great direction. So we'll just see what happens.
No, it definitely is. It's certainly going on an upward trajectory. We'd just like to get more games into a season. That's all at the moment. But at the moment, it's still going all right. Now we'll talk about the first three games so far this season, and a couple of really impressive wins with a draw thrown in there as well. Overall, you must be happy with the start of the season, going against some very strong opposition and having some comprehensive wins against those teams as well.
Yeah, I think definitely if you'd said at the start of the season when that fixture came out, we obviously were talking about that first three rounds in particular. That was a big first three rounds for us. We didn't have time to kind of just, ease into it. We had to go bang from the start. So if you said we'd be undefeated, technically, because we didn't technically lose to Geelong, I think everyone would absolutely take that and be stoked with it. And to have, as you said, two very comprehensive wins. And it didn't make up for the grand final, but it definitely felt nice to get a good win over Brisbane like that, and our first one in history. I think it's given us a lot of belief and confidence in our game plan and the changes that we made over the off-season, as well as all the hard work we all did during off-season, a lot of running, a lot of gym, that it all paid off. And yeah, it was a little bit disappointing in the end with the draw. The draw was very weird with Geelong, and we probably didn't play the way we wanted to, but it's good to take those lessons and learnings pretty early in the season and remember what it's like to be challenged. We responded against Melbourne, which I think is the most pleasing thing.
No, it definitely is. It's how you bounce back. I mean, just going back to that Geelong game, we might as well talk about that a little bit. Obviously a little bit of a flat draw. What was the post-match review on that? Were you girls a little bit disappointed with how you performed and how the game style matched up, especially coming off a 44-point win? And did the heat the previous week affect you guys the next week, maybe putting in a bit of a flatter performance?
I don't think heading into the game that anyone thought that we felt more tired because of the heat, but maybe that was a contributing factor in the end. Who knows? The review, I think the review was done really well by the coaches, just showed us some really constructive things of where perhaps we broke down a little bit. We had a bit of a lack of connection across the lines, and in the way we want to play, it's super important that we're all on the same page. So I think it was really clear where we kind of fell down, and I think we know that the draw kind of happened. We could have potentially beat them. They as well could have beaten us on that day. So I think in the end, we're pretty happy to actually get 2 points out of it. And we've learned some really good things about that game and how to adapt in the future in game a bit better when things aren't looking the way we want to.
No, that's right. It's always about adapting. The conditions were a little bit different, Arden Street, from the round one game. Just explain to us how hot it was, that round one game.
Yeah, it was really hot. I mean, coming from Melbourne, it has barely been above 20 degrees for the past month. And it was, I think the commentator said it hit about 35 when the game started. Yeah. So it was definitely really hot. But our medical team on the sideline did an absolutely amazing job. We had icy poles, ice water towels. We were getting ice when we came off on the bench. They did an amazing job of trying to keep us cool and keep us hydrated. So shout out to them for that. I think it really helped. But yeah, it was definitely a difference, but I didn't mind it. It was nice to actually get into a bit of sun and a bit of heat for a change.
I mean, that third quarter, that was some of the best football. You probably have to agree that we've probably ever played. We just mauled them. What was the message at half time? Obviously you girls would have been feeling a bit weary, feeling a bit tired. Like you said, it was getting to 35 degrees, but we really ran out that quarter really well and put on, I'm not too sure, probably 4 or 5 goals in that quarter, and really set us up for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think up until that point, the scoreboard probably showed that it was still really close, but I think we felt like we, at that point, were absolutely controlling the game. And that we were, on top of them, even though the scoreboard at that point maybe didn't reflect it at halftime. So the message would have just been to keep doing what we're doing. We're in control. Just keep playing our way and the game will break open because we're on top. So, that's exactly what happens. And I think everyone really was diligent with their roles and we showed that our system really holds up.
It definitely does. Well, it's certainly showing up in the first few weeks, and it has in finals last year. And that must give you girls a huge amount of confidence going forward for the rest of the year, because you see Brisbane the next 2 weeks they've comprehensively won their next 2 games. Beating Melbourne at that shithole in Casey Fields by 50 points. I mean, they were the red-hot premiership favourites going into round 10 last year. I mean, they've lost a couple of players. Obviously, we'll talk about one soon. But, it must give you girls a huge amount of confidence that even if you play 10 or 15 minutes of football, we can pile on 4 or 5 goals, and that breaks the game open, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as I said kind of before alluded to, we just know that if we just keep playing our way, even when it gets tough, the coach has done a great job in drilling it into us just about not straying away from that. Sometimes, things can start heading a bit wrong or we're not winning and people might feel that they need to start doing some remarkable things or not doing what they're meant to do. But I think the girls are really on top of their roles, and that's, credit to Croc and the way he's coached us and made sure we're all across what we need to be doing. I think we just have that belief. And now that we got a couple wins on the board against that Melbourne and Adelaide, I think monkey off the back kind of thing, we know we can beat these teams now when we just keep going and stick to our roles and play the way we want.
When you looked at the fixture and the draw, outside of Jasmine Ferguson playing a prank on you girls about the draw, you must have. Did you look at the first few weeks and thought, geez, we're not getting much luck with the draw here, but obviously you didn't worry too much about it. You just thought, all right, we'll play against whoever and, put us in front of whoever and we can beat them on any given day. I mean, it was a pretty tough first few rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was a tough start to the year, but I think, as you said, you just got to know that give us whoever, we'll beat them whenever. At one point, we're probably going to play those teams because they're good sides and we're a good side. So whether it's at the start, at the end, in the middle, I guess it wouldn't matter at the end of the day. And I think it's good because it made sure we're on our toes right from the get-go at the start of the season. So I think it was a really good outcome for us and we've handled it really well.
No, definitely have. Now, I want to talk to you about the new additions that have come to the club. You've obviously had the big name recruit, Libby Birch, come into the team this year to solidify already a very resolute defence. How has she settled into the team this year?
Yeah. Oh God, you wouldn't even know it's her first season here. To be honest, she's slotted in perfectly. She's really brought an elite training standard. I think that's the number one thing that I'd say about her. She's just an absolute competitor. She does not like to lose at training. If she does get outmarked, she's asking why and what she could have done to do that better. And her intent at every drill has been awesome and really lifted the standard for the rest of us. And I think, that's the benefits when you do bring in people from other clubs. And she's brought in a couple new drills, a couple fresh perspectives from things that she's learned at her previous clubs that I think have been super beneficial. She's hit the leadership group and been a fresh voice in there too, keeping us all on our toes. So she's been great, and of course on the field she's been a really good addition to what was already a really solid backline. But I think her intercept and aerial work, which was probably the main reason why we brought her over, she's showing exactly why we wanted her.
No, definitely. I mean, that's the strength of her, and I think that's where the game's at anyway. You kind of have to be that, intercept player this day and age if you're playing the back half, and she's definitely made a career out of that. And she's still very young. She's only 26, so she's still got some very good football in front of her. Vicky Wall has also come into the forward line this year next to you after a year off. She has been very impressive as well. I mean, it must be good to have her back in the team after a season off last year.
Oh, absolutely. We've missed Vicky. She's just such a presence on the field. It's crazy. She's so powerful and so dynamic. You don't know what's going to happen next when she gets the ball. It's super exciting, and I'm super happy that she's on our team because I, for one, would not wish to be tackled by Vicky Wall when she puts you in her sights and you watch her hunt them down. It's pretty incredible to watch, to be honest. And as I said, I'm happy it's not me that she's going after. Definitely stoked she's on our side, but it's been awesome having her back, what she brings to the team. She's just a super professional. Obviously, she was training in a national team for rugby. She's played really high-level Gaelic, so she's just an absolute professional athlete that I think lifts all our standards, and she's not afraid to challenge us with how we're going about things, and she's also just a really good character, so there's been a lot of laughs.
Yeah, she certainly looks like that from what I've seen on the socials and so forth. She's. I mean, do you ever go against her in one-on-one drills at training or anything like that?
I try to avoid her.
That's probably a pretty smart way to be. You want to have a bit of longevity in your career, so yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very tough. I mean, she almost reminds me a little bit of a Cameron Zerhardt, relating to someone in the AFL men's program. Very tough and, goes very hard at the ball. Very unsociable on the football field too, which is always good to have her next to you in case someone wants to rough you up there, Bella. So, who have been some girls that have impressed you this year? I mean, it's hard to find just a couple there because there have been some really good performances across the board, haven't there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been some ripper performances. I think, I look at someone like Ash Riddell, who is already an absolute superstar and has achieved so much and is so good. But I think for me, she's just taken her game to the next level. It's sometimes look at those players and think, how could you get any better? But she has. I think she's so far added a goal kicking element to her game as a midfielder, which you just like. That is just unreal if you can get your midfielders kicking consistent goals. So I think she's added that, and I think her kicking's really improved in her composure. And I think Sarah Wright as well. She just flies under the radar, doesn't really get a lot of attention, but inside the club, we know she plays a really, really solid role for us. And there's so many clips of her just doing some amazing things for our team, putting her body on the line and saving the day. And she works so well in with all the backs down there. We've got such a great system. But I think she definitely deserves some more credit.
Oh, yeah, she just does her job every week, and you wouldn't
Yeah.
even notice. So, yeah, I mean, you girls internally would notice that thing, whereas most people don't really notice. But she's been a consistent performer ever since day dot, pretty much, and yeah, very underrated footballer, that's for sure. I mean, there's it's a lot of competition for spots at the moment, isn't there? There's a couple of girls that are out of the team at the moment that are a bit unlucky, but that's a good problem to have because we're going to get Eliza Shannon, Lulu Puller might be back this week. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very hard to find a spot in a team if you are on the outer, but it's good to have that competition, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's great to have that competition, on the playing group. I think, those non-selected girls, they're all pushing to play, and so therefore they're pushing the playing group to be even better, to make sure that we're bringing our best every week because we know that spot's on the line. So I think it's a really great problem to have. I'm sure it's a headache for Croc, but that's not my problem. So,
I
yeah,
like it.
it's true. So,
True.
yeah, no, it's really great. I think, yeah, as I said, I think it's just really good to have that depth and to know, yeah, if someone does unfortunately happen to go down or whatever in this condensed period, maybe needs to be managed or something. I'm not sure how they're going to go about it, but we know we've got players on the sideline who are absolutely ready to go and have proven themselves at AFLW level before.
Is it hard for these girls that are out of the team because it's hard to find form if you're actually not playing? I'm not so sure. What do they do? Do they? I mean, outside of training, they can't really do much, can they? Because there's no VFLW during the AFLW season. There's no reserves, so it's hard to find form, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They have been playing in some scrimmage matches with the other sides, which is definitely
Oh,
weird because they're teaming up with girls from other clubs to play on the same team, and obviously everyone's kind of on a different game plan there. But at least they're having a kick and proving themselves, showing what they can show to Croc, to push their name for selection. So I think it's really good that the clubs have kind of come together to organise that for the non-selected players. But as you said, definitely without the VFW and things like that, it is more difficult than say for the men's non-selected players. But their attitude's been amazing. They've been bringing the heat at training and pushing us to be better. And yeah, we absolutely love all the girls, and hopefully we'll get to see them out on the field at one point during the year.
yeah, well, we don't want to get injuries, I suppose, or suspensions or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's good to know that if you do get a couple of injuries, I mean, you've had that this year. Like I think Elisa Loxton's missed a game through suspension. I think Eric O'Shea's missed a game through a knee. And you've had a couple of players like Lucy Burke. I think she's been emergency for the last 20 games, I think, or something like that. So it was good for her to finally get an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, a couple of others have come in and really done their job. And you've got Zoe Savrian as well. Pardon my ignorance with her last name there, but yeah, she's actually got a bit of talent as well. So yeah, plenty of depth there, which is really good to see. So make sure you keep your form up going there, Bella. Otherwise, yeah,
I'll try my best.
yeah, no, that's all right. No, you're pretty solid. So yeah, I think you'll be all right. Now you've got a very busy period. You've got 3 games coming up in 9 days. What do you think about that? Because it is putting a lot of extra stress on the body. And my second part of that question is how important, how much focus will you be putting on recovery over the next week and a little bit?
Yeah, I think all my focus will be on recovery, to be honest, with those quick turnarounds. So we go from tomorrow night into Wednesday, into a Sunday game where we have to fly on the Saturday as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really huge week coming up, and yeah, I think recovery will be the absolute number one thing. You might probably be playing a little bit more fatigued or tired than normal, so the amount of effort and work that you can put into recovering in that period of time will be crucial, I think. And I think just having a really positive attitude about it will also allow clubs to probably attack it a bit better if you just really embrace it. It is what it is. We have no control over it, and we're going to do it. So we're just going to crack in and yeah, we'll probably just look to Port for now and then deal with Carlton after Port's over. But to be honest, I'm actually pretty excited because we just get to play footy. Like, we're barely even training and we're just playing footy. So I think we do want to play more games moving forward. And if this is the way we're going to have to do it, then I guess just going to have to accept that. And I'm happy about it if we're getting a couple more games in. So
What would you rather be doing? Would you rather play a game midweek or would you rather train?
yeah, I'd rather play a game.
Yeah, of course. So it's not too bad in that regard. I mean, it's a lot more stress on the body, obviously, if you're playing against a hard opposition. But yeah, it is what it is at the moment, and I think you girls have got a pretty good attitude about it. Just I want to talk about a little bit about recovery. I recently did a half marathon, which is nothing.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, thanks. No, I'm not looking for praise or anything like that, but I'm just sort of saying.
It's a great achievement.
Yeah, no, thank you. But yeah, look. I've almost got lost there, but because I'm getting praise from you. But yeah, I mean, it's putting a lot of stress on your body. I know you get a week off generally after a game of football, but what do you do as far as recovery now? Like, would you have more of an ice bath or maybe a sauna or anything like that?
Yeah, the girls love the sauna. We've got a sauna at the club, obviously, and some ice baths. So we've been all pretty much getting in there. Because training's moved to during the day now and not at night, it's actually given us more time to be able to do those things, which I think is great, which is why we're pushing to train during the day so it can be a bit more professional in that sense. So we've all been in there. I've convinced mum and dad, I still live at home, to get a sauna at home. So I've absolutely lucked in there. So I've got the sauna here now. So yeah, recovery's been made a lot easier. But yeah, the girls also just going for a walk, jumping on the phone roller. Some girls do the compression boots, kind of just whatever your preference is, as long as you're getting something in, I think is the main thing.
Yeah, I've got those portable saunas at home. They actually work all right. The steam ones, they're not too bad. So, and yeah, you get sauna and ice bath for about $400-500. So, yeah, the ice. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's very important, isn't it? I think that's one of the most important things is how you recover after a game, getting your protein in, rest and recovery, making sure, you're still, doing your walks and getting the lactic acid out.
Yeah, definitely. We all love walking our dogs. We're a very big dog team down at North. We all have a dog, so we love taking them to the beach together for a little walk.
Yeah. So, just on you personally, what do you prefer to do after a game? Do you do an ice bath or maybe a sauna? Because I know Harry Sheasel is very big on a sauna after a game because he says he wants to keep the heat in his body to help with recovery. What about yourself? What do you generally do?
Personally, I like to jump in the ice bath. I just find that they work really well for me. So, I just like to jump in there.
Okay. How long do you go in there for?
Depends how cold it is. If it's real cold, I'll probably jump out a bit faster, I reckon.
Yeah, fair enough. I think ice baths are a lot harder than the sauna. So that's fair enough. Now we have a game tomorrow night against Port, who have been quite solid for the first few rounds. Had a good win against the Dogs a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of narrow losses. I mean, you can't take them lightly, can you? After a few big weeks against really good top 4, top 6 opposition teams.
Yeah, absolutely nailed that there. Cannot afford to take Port lightly. I think they're a really solid side. They're definitely up and coming and they've been building for years now. So, yeah, definitely can't take them lightly. I think it'll be a really, really tough contest. I think they're the number one pressure side in the AFLW at the moment. Yeah. So we know they're going to absolutely bring the heat. So we've just got to be ready for that. But I think it'll be a really exciting game. And Wheaton Oval's a really nice ground, really fast kind of ground. So I think it will suit us, but equally it will suit them too. So it'll probably just be who can tough it out for longer, I think.
Yeah, look, I'm very confident in you girls. So what's been the message from the coaching staff this week to maintain the focus? Especially, we beat Brisbane first week, then we sort of just have a bit of an off game against Geelong, then we have another really impressive game against Melbourne. So I guess you don't want to have that, just a bit of an off game like we did against Geelong this week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Gojit could be on our coaching staff. He might have been in the room. That's
no, you definitely don't need me. So no.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right there. That's probably been the number one thing that we're looking for is, seeing if we can back up the performance week after week. So that's what we absolutely want to do this week is back it up with another really solid win and try not to have that lull like we did against Geelong. I'm super confident that the girls will be able to do that. I think it's a matter of focus, if I'm being honest. So Crocs put it on us and hopefully we can get the job done there.
Yeah, it's good that he's putting a challenge on you girls. And as leaders, do you girls meet regularly to talk about the group as well, or anything like that, or is it just just coaching staff and we do it out on the football field? Yep.
No, we have a weekly meeting, the leadership group, us with Croc and our head of football, Erin, to discuss all things, make sure we're on the same page. We can relay some messages to them that maybe we're feeling about the playing group that maybe they're not quite aware of, and vice versa about what they're thinking, just so we're all across sharing the same messages and taking care of any potential problems that we think might happen or what we think would be the most important thing for the week. So, yeah, no, those meetings are definitely really good for everyone, I think.
And just another thing, it's on the top of my head, the after game celebration in the rooms. Is that going to be a common thing, do you think, if you know what I'm talking about? Not just the club song, but getting in the middle and, what was it, ooh, ah, jumping up and down. Yeah. Is that going to be a regular thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of a song that came on and we just like to jam out to it. We had no idea we were being filmed, so it was a bit of a surprise when we saw that one go up on the socials. But we'll see what happens.
No, that's it. Yeah, take it 1 week at a time. It was an impressive win, so I suppose you've got to do it every now and then. We'll see what happens tomorrow if you get the win. What happens in the rooms afterwards? You've got to be careful because there's a camera everywhere. They do keep an eye on you. I'm pretty sure about that. So, and just one last thing. Whitten Oval, is there any reason why we're playing the game there instead of Arden Street? Is it just to maintain the longevity of Arden Street? Because there will be a game there next week, I guess.
I think it is because the game is at night and the lights at Arden Street aren't good enough for broadcast. I believe that is the reason why we are playing at Whitten Oval. Yeah. Oh,
okay. Well, there you go. So thanks for clearing that up for me. Well, it works out pretty well for me because Whitten Oval's just up the road from my work, so it works out pretty well. So
perfect.
Yeah, so I'm happy with that. And the game is tomorrow at 5:10 p.m. as well. If you are planning on going, if you have nothing on like me after work, get down there and support the girls because it does make a difference, doesn't it, Bella?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a difference. Definitely when you play away, I think as well, when you notice that no one's really cheering for you and the crowd's all going for them, that's when I think it makes you appreciate having that home crowd even more. So yeah, definitely get down if you're around because it really does make a difference.
Just on that, like if you're playing on the road, is it? I heard a couple of people say that they like the silence when they kick a goal because they like to keep the opposition quiet. The crowd they like hearing the silence and just hearing themselves celebrate. Is that something you like, or is it not really, or you don't think about it too much?
Yeah, I haven't said I've really thought about it too much. In a way, I guess it's kind of satisfying hearing them all quiet because that means we've kicked a goal. But yeah, I think I more prefer the home crowd. I love when everyone gets involved. I just think back to those finals. The crowd was absolutely unbelievable. They were so loud, and it just creates this amazing atmosphere for us. So I think I'm more of a fan of the home crowd for sure.
No, definitely. I remember the prelim and the grand final. Yeah, it definitely was very loud last year. And also, memberships are still for sale as well. Just contact the club if you want to get an AFL membership. And Bella Eddy, you will dedicate your next goal celebration directly to an individual who gets a membership, won't you?
Yeah, sure. Send me a celebration and I'll do it.
Sounds good. Now, just a couple of fun questions to finish off before I'll let you go, Bella. Now, I know you wear number 3 in the women's team. Now, this should be pretty easy. Who wears number 3 in the men's program?
Harry Sheasel.
Yeah, no, I thought that was easy. Now, I was going to get Sarah Wright on, but she was a late withdrawal. Now, who between the two of you has had the most possessions in a game?
I don't know. I feel like Righty's had some pretty good games. But
it's close.
I feel like it might be me.
The answer is wrong. It is actually Sarah Wright, who had 22 against the West Coast Eagles.
Oh, wow.
In the famous round 10 game where Ash Riddell had 40 plus. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I remember that for sure.
You had 21 against the Blues in round 2 in 2020.
Beat me by 1. That's right.
Yeah. Well, maybe you might get 23 tomorrow. So get one, get one past her. Well, that's all I have for you, Bella. What the hell? You want to add anything else before I let you go?
Just thank you so much for having me on again, Dean. I appreciate it.
No, it's always it's Bella. It's been a pleasure having you on. Thanks so much for taking the time tonight. Congratulations again on your first 50 games of your career.
Thank you.
There'll be plenty more to come. There's no doubt about that. Hopefully in the blue and white, and you get to celebrate with a couple of premierships as well. Good luck tomorrow and the rest of the season. If I don't chat to you before then, thanks so much for coming on.
No worries. Thank you so much, Dean.
And thank you to all you listeners as well for helping the show grow. I'll be back sometime next week. Until then, bye for now and go Roos.